And then when he goes to leave, he says that his name... Oh, shit. Some shit just fell in my room.
The Ponder Freak podcast starts now.
Oh, man. What is going on, Ponder Freak Nation? Welcome to another episode of the Ponder Freak podcast, a podcast that thinks too deeply into hypotheticals, real scenarios, and random questions. I am one of your hosts, Stephen Kelley, and along here with me is...
Hemi! Hey, everybody.
So much energy.
It's me. So, welcome to me and to him.
I still keep doing this game show voice occasionally. I don't know why I do that. I just fall into it. Maybe I should be a game show host.
You should definitely be you know what? Keep doing this, and you'll get some opportunities.
They'll come up. They're gonna be like, wow.
You know, we're doing a bingo. We're doing a bingo game show, Stephen.
Come on down to the American Legion and do the bingo for the retired veterans.
Yeah, that's definitely what's going to happen.
I don't know how that would go. That would not go well.
Swimmingly is how it would go, because that's an adverb.
All right, let's jump in to the first hypothetical. I believe you have one for us today, Hemi.
I have one of sorts. It's quite the epic scenario, I believe. Brought to you by me. All right. So this is what I got. All right, so it seems like just an ordinary day at the bus stop. You're sitting in your usual spot in the bench and have your headphones plugged into the phone, zipped up in your multicolored book bag, and you're listening to the newest episode of Ponder Freak, of course. An older gentleman walks by and sits on the bench right beside you, but not awkwardly in your personal space. You turn down your volume just in case he speaks to you, and to your dismay, he does. The man looks over at you and asks your name. You look back at him and tell him your name, and his eyes light up and he proceeds to tell you that his name is Bill Simmons and he's a scientist. Something seems odd about this gentleman, something that you can't quite seem to put your finger on, but regardless, you ask him what kind of scientist he is, and he says that he's a physicist. He goes on to say that what kind of scientist he is neither here nor there. It's what he's discovered that is of importance. He asks you if you believe in time travel. And you laugh out loud and assume that you're being punked, so you tell him that you're not falling for his tricks, and he looks at you with a calm, sly smile. Once you calm down, he asks if you want to at least humor him by listening to some of his interesting rules of time travel, and you laugh as you nod your head to hear his ridiculousness. Now he says to you,
whether you're going into the future or the past, your age will stay the same, and you'll continue to age just as you would have had you never even time traveled at all. The biggest worry, though, is meeting, recognizing, and knowing that you're speaking with yourself in the future or the past, because if you were to do that, your reality would tear at the seams and you would cease to exist. In fact, you will never have existed, and everybody else's reality will change instantly to make up for the lost memories of your existence.
You think that this is all ridiculous, and you laugh and tell the man that you appreciate the information, and if you ever find yourself in a position to time travel, you'll use that information for good. Then you laugh and notice that the scientist looks saddened by your arrogance and how you responded to what he told you. He says that he'd rather not take the bus because it doesn't matter anymore, and he gets up and goes to walk away, and you tell him,
thanks for the information, Bill.
And then he turns around and he looks at you in the eye and says,
my name isn't Bill, and you can turn up your volume and go back to listening to Ponder Freak now.
What do you do?
Okay. Well, first off, you're like, the hell?
Right.
Right? Because, I mean, you're sitting there, you got your headphones on, life is good. And, I mean, obviously, any times you're dealing with public transportation, you're going to run into people of questionable sanity.
Of course.
So, he brings up time travel. He starts bringing up rules. You're like, okay, this is really intricate, kind of crazy. He's got a lot of details going on. Mm-hmm. And does he know that you turn the volume down? Is this something that he noticed?
Well, that's the thing. So in the beginning of the story, it is made note that your headphones are plugged into your phone and zipped up inside of your multicolored book bag. So he doesn't know that you turned down the volume
Okay, so
when he was there.
so
Technically, he didn't. There's no way he could have seen it.
right. So basically, he just knew either through he experienced it or being someone related to you or through history, and he knew this exact thing happened.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's creepy.
It is creepy.
That's where you're like, hey, Mr. Not Bill Simmons, we need to have a conversation. I feel like you follow the guy.
Well, he also knew what you were listening to as well.
Oh, okay.
He knew you were listening to Ponder Freak.
Oh,
And
right.
he
Yeah.
knew.
Yeah. I glossed over that because it was just like it's like a shameless plug. But I'm there. I get it. Yes.
No, it was a shameless plug, but it's
It matters.
useful context.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. I mean, at that point, you're going to ask questions. Obviously, if you go up to him, does he stop or is he like, oh, no, I'm just going to be on my way now?
Well, I mean, he's walking away because of how you interacted with him. He seemed kind of saddened, and he said he's not going to take the bus anymore because it just doesn't matter.
Oh, which could be a huge impact on you. Maybe he saves your life. Maybe he keeps your timeline going. I think you make amends at that point. He's knowing too many details.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you think you should go talk to him?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Curiosity would just be too massive.
But what if curiosity could get you killed?
I'm the cat in this case. It's 50-50 at this point. So he's created a situation to where he knows enough about my future, which may be worth pursuing. And, either he can help or not help. So it's become 50-50 at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So if I don't pursue him, I'm just assuming, okay, hopefully he doesn't impact my future just because of this conversation. And that's if you believe him. He could have just been a really sly dude that had like a little reader that saw what your phone was doing, and
Right.
could have been just a con artist that was really creative. And if so, he deserves money from people that are gullible, and I could be one of those people.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. This could be complete bullshit, right?
Yeah.
You could. I mean, if it happened to you, you could be like, "All right, whatever, shut up." You know what I mean? But I think the interesting thing is the conversation that is taking place, because in the conversation when he talks about the rules, he says that you shouldn't meet yourself.
Right.
And then when he goes to leave, he says that his name. Oh shit! Some shit just fell in my room. That was crazy. Man, action.
Time travel.
Time travel. See, look, I stumbled upon something.
Just had a rift in time.
That was unexpected. Yeah, that was crazy. All right. Anyway, no, but the interesting thing is, he says that if you were to meet yourself,
Right.
you know what I mean, and know that you had met yourself,
Right.
that would make you cease to exist because your reality would fold in on itself.
Right.
And everyone else would not know that you ever existed. Their reality would be patched with other information, right? Instantly.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that he gives you those rules and then says that his name isn't Bill.
Right.
And he knows that you have your volume turned down and what you're listening to, and he knew the bus stop that you usually go to.
Right.
So you could deduce that might be you in the future.
Yeah. Does he look like you?
Well, that's the thing. Like, you think something's up with him, as said early on in the story. There's a lot of context clues, but yeah, you think
Gotcha.
something may be up with him.
Gotcha.
So you kind of deduce to yourself that you might be like, that could potentially be you in the future. But the problem is, if you do come to that realization, your reality is going to fold in on itself. So,
Oh, what a weird.
if you try to go run for the guy to ask questions, you may find out information that makes you cease to exist. So the question is, do you want to let your curiosity get the best of you, given this situation?
The future me wants that for some reason, right? So
Maybe.
either that or he's just time travel skydiving where they take extreme risk just for the thrill,
Right. To
which
see
is
what happens.
hilarious. Like,
Yeah.
is there little bumper stickers on the side of the road, like advertising, like time travel skydiving, like risk meeting
Right.
yourself, but not, here's how to
Totally.
do it safely.
Yeah. No, that's true. Or he could just be an asshole. What if it's like some Rick and Morty shit?
Yeah.
What if it's some Rick and Morty shit, but it's like early age Rick, right? That may not have been as intelligent, which I know that's not how Rick and Morty works. I know he ate the little thing and that made him mad intelligent and shit. But I'm just saying, like, what if like he's just now getting into time travel, right? And he found a way to go back, but he's never met himself. So he doesn't want to meet himself like right then and there, but he wants to see if his self can figure it out. And if it does, if reality does fold in on itself. So he's doing like a crazy experimentation. Like, what if that's the case? Yeah. And he has to say, like, you can't do this just to get him to want to do it. You know what I mean?
Right. It's a super, okay, so let's say time travel's a thing. Your first thought is like, oh, how can I go back and fix some bullshit? Like, or at least influence my life towards, better money, better lifestyle, like avoiding bad choices. Like, what small things can I do to improve myself, but not mess up my experience to where I am not the person that I am today, which is probably not possible. But I would dare to say that some people would be like, I'm gonna play with that a little bit. I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna be the first one to be like, hey, I didn't mess up my timeline, which we all know, like the Flash keeps fucking up. So you can't really. Yeah, I don't know. I would assume it's a situation like that if you have time to think on this level. But if it's just a gut reaction and you were just throwing rules like that, humans are pretty like, oh, hey, you said this, I'm going to talk. Like, I need to know, like, what? Like, tell me more. We're just too curious. So I would probably be overwhelmed by that sense of like, okay, what's your real name now? And why are you telling me all this? And also, like, where's your time travel thing? Like, is it a phone booth? Because that's not very creative. Like, what? Like, what are we talking here?
That's great. Yeah, no, I mean, and all those questions would be worthwhile. And I think ultimately the biggest thing is, like, do you actually let your curiosity get the best of you, and do you go speak to him?
Yeah, I would stupidly go speak to him.
Or do you sit there and think about it? Because technically either way, if you come to the conclusion that that's you cease to exist.
That's a crazy rule within itself.
Right.
So it's like, you can't will ignorance on yourself. I mean, but I guess you could just be like, we do have this protective shell. So if someone did come up to you and start talking nonsense and you just brushed it off quickly, that's your only hope in this case. Because if you did say that's not my name, and you felt a certain kind of way about him and felt like something like, oh, we seem like each other, like our movements probably would have been the same and some weird things like that. Right. And I usually catch on to details like that sometimes. So I guess in this case, I would hope for the best and be like, oh no, like just, I would hope for the shock value of like, okay, that was weird. All right, anyway, see you later, getting on the bus.
Right. Yeah.
Especially if my existence ends.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. The other thing is, the other interesting thing is to think about the backstory of the scientist and why he did what he did. And if you think about it, like, his past self was like laughing about his, you know what I mean? Like, about his invention, and it saddened the scientist. And then he said, I'm just going to leave. He got up and he said that he's not going to take the bus anymore because he's not going to take the bus because it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
So it almost sounds like he might have even been suicidal, but he left it up to his old self to decide whether or not he was going to live anymore. Because maybe he's been time traveling forever and it sucks. You know what I mean? Like, maybe he's leaving it up to the fate of his own self to determine whether or not, like, you know what I mean? Like,
that's heavy as shit. That is.
Yeah. Some crazy possibilities.
And I mean, how hard would it be for the younger version of yourself to look at your older version and be like, hey, bro, it's not worth it. Don't do it. Like your younger self wouldn't know
Right, yeah.
enough to get into the mindset. I could be like, well, I mean,
You wouldn't even know if it is worth it or not. You have no clue.
up to this point, it's been all right. Huh? Couldn't have gone too bad. And then he starts being like, no, let's start talking about what happened. And you're like,
Right.
oh, should I pull the plug or you? Like, what would be easy? Because if I pull the plug, then you never experience all those bad things.
Uh-huh.
What
Right?
a crazy
Yep.
way to commit suicide.
Crazy. And the question is that suicide or is that homicide?
I don't.
Or is it both? It could be both.
You remember the movie Looper?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bruce Willis and all that, and like hitmen that time traveled and whatnot. That played a little bit like you're just like, oh, like this is a bit much.
Right, yeah, for sure.
And he went to stop himself, and it's just
It's nuts. It's crazy.
so that movie makes more sense now.
Right.
It made sense before, but it's funny to think about it on this level.
in this context, yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
I would hope at that point I'd be like, oh, this is weird. Anyways, moving on with my day. Or, but if I caught on to details, I'm gonna ask.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
And it won't even click like, oh, wait a minute, he just said my world would end. It would just be like, oh, that's curious. What do you mean the world will end? You'd be like, oh, that's all we needed. And Back to the Future. We're disappearing from pictures.
And that's what's interesting about it, because in the scenario, the way that it's written, you're arrogantly like, ha ha ha, your dumb rules. And your own arrogance actually gets the best of you in the end.
Yeah.
Because that is something that you glossed over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Crazy. Absolutely nuts.
I mean, also, I can't remember, but was he like, oh, you're being arrogant? Did he say something like that?
He didn't say it. He was just saddened by the arrogance.
So, okay.
Yeah.
This is what occurred.
Because
he just had an emotion. Nothing was vocal.
Nothing was vocal. No, but you could see it. You could see he was saddened by it, and then he got up to leave. And then you were being a dick, like, "Hey, thanks for the information, Bill." And that's when he turned around and said, "My name isn't Bill."
Yeah.
And then happened to know what was in his, book bag and stuff, which makes you think, "What?"
Yeah. See, personally, I wouldn't shit on someone like that.
Right.
So it's kind of hard to relate on that level. But if he was like clearly like talking and saddened.
Well, yeah, but you know what though? You didn't necessarily know you were shitting on him because, yet again, you thought you were being punked.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Like, okay, where's the camera? Where's it at?
Because this is outlandish, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? You thought it was bullshit.
Yeah.
But he was being like, no, like this is real, and you're like, no, it's not. You know what I mean? So it's basically it was that situation. It was your it came off as arrogance, but it was also like ignorance. You know what I mean? It was like a culmination kind
Right.
of almost of the two. You were arrogant enough to think you knew, but you were actually ignorant. You know what I mean? And it came off that way, so he just decided to, kind of make you think and maybe give up on life. Like, who knows where the scientist was at? But yeah, I just think it's a very interesting scenario to knowing all of those things. Like, if you knew you were gonna die, obviously you wouldn't ask, right? If you knew,
Right. Yeah. If you had a clear understanding, which you could argue you did.
But also, the problem is, if you knew you would die by asking it, then that would mean that you actually knew that was you, which then would kill you anyway. So it's actually are you curious enough to find out more, or would you let an experience like that just go and not pay attention to it? So basically, could your curiosity get the best of you?
Well, the thing is, that situation must have happened already. And you must have let go because he's there.
Well, maybe, because that's the thing. You're time traveling, so you actually open up new scenarios that can happen.
So there are going to be there's going to be situations where you do ask, and then there's going to be ones where you don't.
Right.
And they're infinity on both sides.
Yeah.
Which is also terrifying.
Right. Who knows what could happen?
So basically, you live and die at the same time. Good job. We did it.
You do, but you don't, though, because that's the thing. All right, so the biggest worry is meeting recognizing and knowing that you're speaking with yourself in the future or the past. Because if you were to do that, your reality would tear at the seams and you would cease to exist. In fact, you will never have existed. And everybody else's reality will change instantly to make up for the lost memories of your existence. So in every way, shape, and form, you will not exist.
Right.
Time travel won't exist anymore either because you're gone and you're the only one who knows how to do it.
So, yeah, your essence is just...
It's just wiped.
Okay.
So if you think about it...
But
and
when you say your name, he recognizes it. He reacts to it. So he can't be part of you. Like, he can't be you. Otherwise, that would be the moment of erase, like where you get erased, right?
No. Because at the beginning, it says, the man looks over at you and asks your name. You look back over at him and tell him your name, and his eyes light up as he proceeds to tell you that his name is Bill Simmons and he's a scientist.
Right.
So
he recognizes the name. He lit up.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So he knew it was him. Fuck.
So existence erased. Isn't that funny?
This was all pointless.
I caught the detail.
It all went into nothingness.
Well, it's a hypothetical. So at this point, you could say he doesn't react. He does. But no, actually, he'll have to know. To do a poker face, he'd have to know. So I guess at that point, he'd be like, well, I mean, he could still say the rules. He could just be playing head games.
Yeah, true.
Which is even... I think you accidentally just made a funny time travel movie concept. You're like, it's a new YouTube trend where you go back in time and fuck with yourself.
Yeah, but yeah, that it would literally have to be that then at that point. That's interesting. I thought it was written in a way
that there's no holes. Well, okay, hold on.
Well, I didn't get to like spend a lot of time thinking about there not being holes. But
let's say he's outside of because currently he has to loop back in his timeline,
right,
to yours.
Uh-huh.
So the rule can still apply in the sense that you have to recognize him, and then those two things hit. If he's the only one recognizing, maybe that could be the causality that keeps it okay. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, right. Yeah. It would have to be the biggest worry is meeting, recognizing, and knowing that you're speaking with you.
Right.
Both have to.
If you both know, that's the
meeting,
key to the end.
And
how's
knowing.
that?
Yeah.
That sounds like
yeah.
If we can get some physicists, if anyone listening to this has a degree in science.
I want to say that that's what I meant, but of course I want to say that so that I didn't have a big hole. But I do want to say it, and I feel it, but I'm not going to say it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't write it. But you know what? That's what we'll roll with.
If enough people hear this, someone right in the beginning is like, well, the guy recognized right off the bat because his eyes lit up. We're done. Sorry, heading home. We're done.
Yeah, I know.
Way to ponder, guys.
Yeah. So the good news is, guys, you can also call us on our bullshit. If we write some bullshit like this trash that I wrote, then you can, mention the holes. But the good news is that now we have a whole field because let's just say they both have to know, and because that's what I feel I meant. And if even if you don't want to go down that road, because we've already talked that road, then you can go to pranking yourself back in time, because then obviously it would be funny because you'd be like, oh shit, I don't even want to think about it. Oh, I'm gonna die.
You know what would cause that? Pranking, like there needs to be some legal ramification for what some of these people are doing. Some of the pranks are funny, like the one where the guy looks like he's using the force to move trash cans or something and people are freaking out. No harm, no damage is being done to them. They're just like, wow, this, like he changes their reality for a second and it's hilarious. Mm-hmm. So let's say there's a dismal dystopian future and pranking is outlawed. And then someone finds a loophole like, well, I can prank myself in time. And they're like, that's perfectly fine. Go for it.
I'm gonna film
I'm
it.
going to film it.
It's gonna go on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm going to be the only pranking channel left.
And what would be funny about that in this scenario is that a scientist, it took a scientist to want to prank
I
himself.
hope it's a lifetime. I hope it's his
I
lifetime.
developed the technology, and I
Man,
Just
I
to
was
prank.
such a douche when I was young. I'm going to get me. I'm going to get me good. Get that guy.
I'm gonna devote my whole life to figuring out how to prank myself back in time.
Perfect. Why not? I mean, what other reasons?
Yeah, I mean, clearly for fun.
You can't go back and fix things. You can only make them worse.
That is very true.
Or at least risk making them worse.
Well,
I think we wrapped up that one. That felt right. I felt good.
yeah, it felt great for you. Felt real bad for me.
Well, it's not where the journey begins. It's that we ended up with time travel pranking on yourself, which probably would have never been thought of.
Oh yeah,
So we're good.
that is very true. Yeah, many more mistakes to come from me. So you guys just strap in, and Steven will make sure it burns.
Oh,
Make it burn.
it's all right. I'm sure you can get an ointment or
Ointment.
see a doctor. Yeah, that's a weird word to say.
Nah.
Ointment. Oh, I almost say oink. I'm always like oinkment.
It's pretty funny. I always think about pigs too. Every time I hear the word ointment, I'm like, nope,
That's not it.
you meant oink.
All right, we ready for the second one?
Yeah, for sure. Let's do it.
Okay, so you help me decide. So this one actually, it doesn't necessarily pertain to time travel, but it actually plays with time travel ever slightly. So, all right, we're gonna talk Jesus for a moment, okay?
Okay.
So it's the night Jesus is taken by the Romans, and Peter's like, "Bro, this is serious. You need to go." And Jesus is like, "Hey, I got this handled. Relax. Like, come with me. Let's go do our thing. Let's go eat this dinner that you're calling the Last Supper, but it's definitely not going to be the case because don't worry, I got something in the bag for this." Everyone's relaxed. They're at this big ass table, all sitting on one side, which is awkward for the painting. And Jesus is, he sees what's his name, Judas? Is that the one that betrays? Yeah, I don't know, I can't remember.
Judas.
Yeah, So he calls out Judas. Oh, he does all the normal stuff. And the Romans come in, and they're looking at Jesus. They're like, "You gotta come with us. You're under arrest," or whatever Latin you say at the time that means you're under arrest. And Jesus is like, "Nah, I'm not going with you." He pulls out a gun and shoots one of the Romans. And there's never been a gun before. No one knows what a gun is.
Right.
So everyone's like, "Oh my God, this is like a miracle." And the Roman, that's it, is like, "I don't know what happened," but he starts bleeding and falls. And the other Roman's like, "Okay, I'm leaving." Like, clearly this is some sort of deity I'm dealing with. So Jesus has a gun.
Jesus has a gun.
What caused this is I saw a bumper sticker that said Jesus would be alive today if he had a gun.
Jesus would be alive today if he had a gun. That's what was.
That's what caused this hypothetical.
Really? No. He. What? That's crazy. What? Do you think that was more of a Democratic or Republican sticker? Do you think?
I would dare to say more so conservative.
Okay,
leaning.
cool. Because that
Gun rights.
that's what I was thinking, but that doesn't make any sense because
It's just a funny.
Jesus. If Jesus wanted to, he wouldn't need a gun to kill them. He can do whatever. He can speak things into existence and they just occur. He could be like, "Y'all die now." And they just would, right? But he wouldn't need to be like, "Hey, I wish I had a gun so I could kill someone." Like, what? That doesn't even make sense. Why would he need to? He is the weapon. He doesn't need a weapon. Like, that doesn't even make sense for that to even be the case. And then next is, he doesn't kill people. It's not good to do that. You shouldn't kill people ever. You just shouldn't do it.
Well, here's the thing. So here's the situation, right? So we're kind of rewriting a little bit here. So
Right.
the Bible now has this story where Jesus gets out his, 45 and puts a Roman down right then and there with all the stopping power he needed.
Thou shalt bear arms.
Exactly. So, like, do the commandments change? You know, like, thou shalt not miss
I guess.
when aiming at thy foe.
Oh, man.
Would the cross be replaced with something that's the shape of a gun? Would we have a bunch of necklaces with guns on them instead of crosses?
Well, we wouldn't have. He wouldn't have ever made it to the cross.
Exactly.
He'd still be alive right now with his gun. He'd be the president of the NRA right now, and it would just be a continuous Jesus as the president of the NRA.
I think at that point too, just introducing a gun, because the first like gunpowder weapons were not introduced until like 900 years later. So just Jesus having a gun, I feel like would be a massive game changer, because a lot of what was written about Jesus came later after his life. But if someone all of a sudden has this new powerful technology, I think there's going to be instant worship. The other Roman that came to arrest him may get on his knees and be like, dude, you're the dude. Like, whoa, like everyone's right. Like hot shit. So at that point, could it just have been a statement like, hey, like I am the Messiah. Look what I can do. I'm pulling weapons that come from the future. You know what I mean? Or would they be like, oh, like, or would the Romans be like, no, this guy's really dangerous and we need to get a hold of what he has? And would they just send a bunch of Romans and like the first few get shot? Yeah, there's overwhelm him.
Yeah. I feel like they would still try to kill him.
Yeah.
They're not just going to give up because one man went down. Bro, they had mad big armies. And so that, like, they're going to run back and then be like, yo, like, so-and-so, like, you know, fucking Barney got popped. And they're going to be like, Barney, like, oh,
Barney
shit.
the
Like, he
Roman.
was... Like, Barney was kind of tough, but, like, I mean, we got a whole squad.
Yeah.
So it was one guy. Yeah, he had some crazy shit. It made a loud sound, and like Barney was done.
Yeah,
and he's gonna be like, all right, well, I mean, you didn't die, and it was like at least two of y'all. You know what I mean? You came out unscathed.
Yeah.
Well, let's send a whole fucking military. You know what I mean? And I feel like they would, especially because they don't know what's going on. And then if you know Jesus ain't about that actual miracle life, then I think it might be a wrap for him if that was the situation.
He'd go down fighting, maybe.
I mean, he'd have to shoot, you know, a little bit, but I think that would actually make the bumper sticker wrong if that is exactly the scenario.
Yeah, I know the people that followed him at the time would be like, wow, no, this is just another show of power.
Of course, they would.
Yeah, and the Romans, obviously, the religious beliefs conflicted, and then, you know, trying to control the area. Anytime leaders popped up, that would be an issue, and Jesus was obviously a leader. And I think you're right. I think they'd be like, oh, like, that was a one-time thing. We need to go. We could stop this Jesus guy. Yeah, he has a gun.
Right.
But there's lots of us Romans.
Mm-hmm.
We got armor.
Yeah.
Put stuff on.
Yep.
And I was looking into that, and I was like, their shields are wood, and their armor wasn't like super thick. And I was like, I think Jesus would have a field day first before they got to him.
Well, I mean, yeah, but what kind of gun does he have again?
Well, that's the thing too. Or we could say he has a pistol, or does he have, you know, like a bigger AR, or does he like? Are we talking machine gun? 250 rounds? Are we talking Tommy gun and he has like a mobster accent all of a sudden? There's so many options.
No, I mean, there's a lot of, and of course, all of them are going to determine the outcome. I mean, if he has a pistol, I mean, you know, depending on the magazine, like you only get a certain amount of shots depending on what kind of magazine and, you know, pistol you have, I guess. I don't know that much about guns, but I do know you have.
If this is God's gun, it may have infinite ammo.
All right, so. But he legit has like godlike powers too, and a gun. Is that what we're doing? Because we don't even need the gun at that point.
Are you saying Jesus needs to be nerfed? He's too OP, a little too powerful. This is so unfair.
Yeah, because like, what are you doing? You're like, yeah, he's got a gun and he can instantly kill all of them. Well, okay, of course, yeah. If he's actually like a, you know, an actual Jesus who actually has powers, then I mean, This is, you know what I mean? Why does he need a gun anyway? You know, he just wouldn't.
Well, I'm looking at him more so like he did the little good miracles and feeding people and stuff like that. And then this, I think it would just be interesting if there was something like a gun and he shot one Roman or something, or just injured the Roman with this like scary power. And then that was it. Like the gun disappeared from history. Mm-hmm. And then they killed him right there. It would be, I feel like priest would have guns. I feel like the cross wouldn't be the symbol. Something that looked like a gun would be the symbol. And it would just strangely change history.
So, okay. So if he used a gun.
Yeah.
Now, does the gun disappear or like, or do we actually still have it? So we can actually make like a replica of it and shit, like instantly. You know what I mean? Like not instantly,
hey,
but, you know, they got to get some technology first. But
do you want to carry what Jesus carried? How do you want to protect your family? The Sin Stopper 3000.
Oh, the marketing.
This caliber is guaranteed to stop sin right at your front door. You will not be burgled.
By buying this, you're actually buying someone else's way into heaven.
Either that or you send them to hell.
It's amazing.
But it was just,
oh, man.
I was thinking, like, what if a time traveler, like, was back then, you know, checking out Jesus and then, you know, dropped a gun or even dropped any item and, like, Jesus found it. And if he was, like, even remotely a regular dude, like, he could hold this up and be like, hey, I am the Messiah, bros.
Right. Exactly. No, for sure. And that, you know, that kind of goes back to me being like, all right, so they'll find out real quick if he is or not. You know what I mean? Like real quick.
We'll test that.
And then if people still want to be like, yeah, but Jesus killed that one man, so he's very, very, you know, scary. Let's praise him. Then, okay. But I can't imagine everybody wanting to still follow him if that's like how it went. I don't know.
It goes against kind of turn the other cheek and
yeah, for sure. The whole situation is all bad. Really, I feel like if it was written now, there would be people who would follow him. There's so much good stuff that's supposed to be in there, and then people, you know, are like, nah, well, you can kill people, but it says you can't. It says you can't, so you shouldn't want to. It doesn't make sense. Why are we doing that?
I think I like this version better where he just drops the dude right there. He's like, don't test me. I'm Jesus. Like, you're done.
That's insane. Well, yeah, I mean, it's action movie Jesus.
Technology introduced to people like that because, like, we had World War II planes land in some islands in the Philippines, brought some food to some tribes, and then, like, go away. And these people are like, oh, those are angels/gods that came from nowhere, brought us food, then left. And they built memorials and like little statues of planes and worshiped them. And I was like, I feel like I don't know if Allah and like the Islam has anything with Jesus with a gun. I don't you know, would they like, well, right. Muhammad had like 3 guns, so would there be an arms race between religions? Kind of already is.
Wow. That's pretty much exactly what's happening.
That's got a little too
right
deep.
Now.
I kind of wanted it to be like, if Jesus had a gun and just shot a dude, it would be ironic, like you said, kind of goes against his beliefs, but also, like, what just happened? It would be a shockwave.
Yeah, of course. It'd be really, really weird. You think Jesus would go to jail?
Well, I mean, he did for being Jesus already. So I would assume if he shot someone, they're like...
Ooh, do you think he would go to hell?
Satan's like, well, this was unexpected.
I don't... Humans are pretty fucking annoying, huh? Yeah. Now you get it.
Can't blame you. Been trying to fix them this whole time, so you're not wrong, but you're wrong to your dad. And Satan's like, you want to see my guns? I have a sweet-ass collection down here. I got the Skull Buster. I got all the great ones.
Skull Buster.
I feel like Satan would have a gun. Yeah, Skull Buster.
For sure.
Satan would have a gun called that.
Yeah.
I hope.
He would.
Well, I think that's it for the if Jesus had a gun.
Yeah.
I think we were just, it was funny because like right in the beginning, you're like, no, like that's not Jesus. Like that's not everything I was taught and heard about. Like I can't even, no, I'm not even going to indulge this. How dare you? And if he did, what the hell? He's not really the Messiah. He had a gun.
Yeah.
Like, it's redundant.
He ain't real.
He did not sacrifice for your sins. Sacrificed others.
Yeah. For his own sins. Yeah. It's a good, see, and yet again, that's a good movie premise right there. See, you said mine could be used for yours good too, I feel. Jesus with a gun.
Well, they did it on Family Guy.
Yeah, and what if he accidentally shot the person? You know what I mean? Like, what if you, oh no, I'm just Jesus. I didn't, oh man, I sinned?
If Jesus accidentally killed someone.
Yeah, he accidentally did.
So, like, let's say someone's up there like, oh, hey, I'm up high painting this little building, and Jesus, like, stumbles and trips and hits the little scaffolding thing, and that falls over and the dude dies.
Right, yeah. Or even with your premise, but like, let's say time traveler or something. Time traveler comes back, leaves a gun right there where Jesus is.
He wouldn't know what it is.
And Jesus is like, what is this, my son? Blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, oh no. And, he shoots. And he's like, what did I do? And they're like, what? Jesus, what is that? And Jesus is like, I don't know. It just got here. And then they're like, and they're like, we've never seen one of those. You had to have made it. You killed him on purpose. Like, you know what I mean? They would totally turn on him, and it would have been by accident, potentially. What a depressing potential story.
Yeah, that would be. It'd be like the book of Job. They'd be like, oh, Jesus wasn't the dude. He was kind of a screw up. Nice guy, though. Lots of miracles, whatever. But he killed a dude.
Right. Man.
He was a prophet that had a big oopsie, so we kind of had to downgrade him.
Big oopsie.
He was being promoted, and then, had to let him go.
Man.
Had to let him go.
Whew.
Yeah, that's unfortunate if Jesus does accidentally kill someone.
Yeah. For all parties, I guess, involved.
That would, I think we would still be like, all right, waiting for the Messiah.
When's he coming?
Which, the Jewish faith, they are.
Right.
They're still waiting. And, of course, Christianity is like, oh, well, Jesus, he'll swing back around. He'll make a U-turn, hit us back up.
Right.
We'll see how it goes.
He'll come back again. So we're all still waiting. I mean, why can't we all just get along? Everyone's still waiting.
Right.
They're just like, no, he's coming back again. Nuh-uh, he wasn't here one time before. All right. All right.
That felt good. Thank you so much for listening to our show. It truly means a lot. Find us wherever you find your favorite podcasts and check us out on social media. Just search Ponder Freak. We can't wait to hear from you. Till next time. And stop recording.